All right. It was a couple weeks ago. Gretchen and I tried to hop in a draft. We didn't realize the rookies were not included in those first run of underdog drafts. But now the rookies are here, and they are glorious. They're in the big board. We are going to draft a team tonight. We were talking about the running backs last week. Everyone has rookie fever. We will hop in there and fight you piss boys for all these rookies. Let's do it.
Pat Fryer Helmo.
This is why I'm hot.
Anita Handjob.
Fix your sight.
Jamar. Alpha play chase.
Are you kidding me? Kadarius Toney?
You can't handle the heat.
It looks like we're finally this boys. You're right.
Ben Gretch, the man of the hour. I feel like I'm in 19 different group chats with you right now, keeping comedy fantasy rolling. You must be exhausted at this point.
I am, but I think I mentioned on last week's show, I started the keto diet. You get a little bit more energy from it. It's a good time to be trying to commish like 15 leagues because I'm eating clean. I got a little free time. I'm not having these food comas and stuff. So I'm just like firing off on the commish duties.
We should. I feel bad. I should stay on top of it a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, all the people that I would expect to be on top of drafting who know fantasy drafts, the guy who won $2 million, you take so fucking long to take these picks.
I'm taking so long that Ben can't eat carbs.
Rain is like, I ping him, and then like 3 hours later, I'm like, hey, ping again. Will you just get this draft moving, buddy? Like,
I was cracking up because in one of it's the XFL thought leaders. We got some heavy hitters in there. Us three, obviously. We got Siege, we got Lord Reeves, we got JJ, we got Davis. And Davis at the 1-2 turn had to take the Kansas City Chiefs at 107.
that was
I mean, just the most Davis pick I've ever seen.
I just took him in, I think, an Omni Cup, and I was picking right before we went on the air here, and I literally was like, well, Davis took him in the first round. I could take him in the second.
Jeez. I know. And like, I can't even make fun of it for being so random. Like, I just took the Bruins in one of mine, and both those like NHL and NFL playoffs are such a crapshoot, whatever. Has there been any interesting trends for you, Gretch, that you've noticed? Because obviously we're through like most drafts are at least through like 1.5 rounds. It seems like.
Well, let's pull up. The thing I'm kind of stoked about is I created
the ADP.
Yeah, the ADP thing is kind of cool.
I got that.
You got it. Pull it up.
Probably should.
Yeah.
This is for all the. We have. I did a 16th overflow draft. Oh, weird. That's like an older version of it. Refresh. Can you refresh that?
Yeah, I just did. This was the link.
Okay,
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. It updated.
Okay. Yeah.
So anyway, this is all from 1 to 16 in the top column on the right. Those are the 16 different leagues. We just added a 16th overflow league to get a few people in. They've only done 6 picks, but the first 15 leagues are all a little bit further on. You got the ADP, you got the, how many leagues of the 16 they've been drafted in, high pick, low pick. But this has been the top picks overall so far as like trends. I mean, Novak has been, hit pretty heavily. And was the first overall pick in about half the leagues. The USA
should be right. Like that makes sense.
I think it makes sense. Yeah, the USA Women's World Cup team was a number 1 pick, and a few of them. Looks like Man City was in one, and the Las Vegas Aces were in a couple. And then John Rahm was the number 1 pick in one. The Georgia Bulldogs down here, the number 1. I mean, I love the picks where people like shoot their shot and they actually go after it. You can do that. On me. It's like I don't want someone to potentially snipe me. I don't, ADP value out the window because you don't know what people are going to do. They could take anything, So
yeah, I tried to get Iga to come back to me in the second, and didn't work. I knew you were.
I took Iga in one of mine. I'm gonna have to grind some Iga. I'm gonna have to grind some Iga film. Do not know.
I think we all have Iga shares.
Oh yeah, okay. I got 2 now, and I mentioned that we added women's tennis to Sean when we recorded a pod today, and he was like, "Ooh, you got to get Iga." And Sean used to coach tennis. Sean's actually pretty big in the tennis world.
Tennis.
He started talking me up on Iga big time.
Oh man, all right, man.
I
can't believe I tried to get her through the turn. That was so stupid.
She kind of looks like the actress Elizabeth Moss. You guys seen that?
Oh, interesting.
From Mad Men.
Yeah, I know she is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a little.
Oh yeah, I see that.
See you guys see it? Little Elizabeth Moss there. All right. whatever.
What's the what's the one? I can't think of the other show she's in.
Handmaid's
that I've
Tale.
only seen. Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of the name.
I didn't even know you were trying to think of a show.
I was thinking Gilead is all I could think of.
Yeah.
Well, there is this element with Omni, and I think everyone is presented with this where not only you can stare at the projected points based out, that are based largely off of the future stuff that Kevin's put together, and you can try to GTO it and get the most projected points, or you can try to optimize your sweat equity, because the truth is, like, a lot of people probably aren't going to be watching Women's Tennis Association, but you might be watching the XFL, which might lead you to taking the Houston Roughnecks a little earlier. So I do like that people, or you see John Rahm and you're having a lot of fun watching him on Sundays. I mean, I don't begrudge anyone for that either. So it is fun to put a premium on sweat equity with these picks.
First year I did this was 2014. I can't agree with everything you just said more. The most fun I've had doing this is when I've hit on picks that I wanted to do well. Like I remember way back early on, I thought Jordan Spieth was a cool young golfer, and I picked him. He won the 80 because really early in his career, he won a couple majors. And he won the golf thing. I had him as like a later round pick, and I was like, that was really cool for golf. I remember picking the Astros the year they finally broke through and thinking that was cool. Turns out they were cheaters. Didn't know that at the time, but thought it was a cool pick. And it was like fun to ride along there because they had been like really bad for a long time and they had like built up their program. I mean, if there's like a team that you think is cool, always break a tie by picking the one that you want to root for. Like you just said, like it's more fun.
I think arguably the Women's World Cup team should be the number one pick for that reason, because that's the most likely you are to be in a bar with friends, right?
Yeah.
So now you've got your Omni team as well. So I got them in one league, I think. I don't know. I either really wanted them and didn't get them, or got them. I can't remember. But I was just thinking about it as like, this is the perfect pick because I'm going to watch this.
Yeah. It is a perfect pick.
Obviously, we got Gretch has the big Omni Cup going. A lot of you guys are in that. We have the ship chasing cups. We have 4 different divisions. All of those drafts are underway. Those are for the VIPs in the Discord. We got threads going for those. But I will say, if you are just tuning in and wondering what the hell this is Omni Fantasy. We've talked about it on a few different shows. I'll put a link down below. And Gretch, even though these leagues are already underway, like now still a perfect time for people to hop in if they want to do like a 6 or 8 man draft with their buddies, right?
Yep. You can do drafts of any size. You can go to omnifantasy.substack.com, and that's a free newsletter. But if you go to that website, there's like an archive of old posts. Probably have to go back to some like a couple of years ago, some of the first posts, but I explained like how the site works and what everything is, how to set up your own league. You can find information there. If you think this looks really, really cool, you want to nerd out on it, that's where I would point you to get information. But you can also just go to omnifantasy.com. That's the front page. There's Pete's leagues that your leagues will autofill there, but there's a little link for the rules down below, the Omni Cup standings, which is that's what all of those 15 leagues that we're in. We've done this one with these guys from the fantasy football industry for what, like 3-4 years now? How many years have we done this? We've lost a few people. We're down to 7 people now. A couple people bowed out. Freeman bowed out this year, and I don't know who else bowed out. We lost a couple people, but it's been a fun league over the last several years. We were happy to get down under 8 again because we started this the XFL year, whatever was that, 2020.
It's right before the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 2020. That was the first year we did this draft because we were the XFL Thought Leaders is the name of the league. And we had an 8-team league because you can't do more than 8 teams. You have to, everybody has to be able to draft one team from the league. I explained that incredibly well. But anyway, we're back down under 8 people. So we were able to include XFL and USFL again this year, which is going to be a blast. I'm super pumped for this league this year.
Yeah. And it's, for people who, it's completely free. The only tech thing you need is you need to have a Twitter account because that's what it's tied to for your login. But once you have that, you can go and set up the leagues to whatever kind of settings you want. You name it, you put in all the league members' Twitter ID, you pick your sports.
F1 is available, by the way, even though it's not featured in these leagues. If you want to start your own leagues, you could include F1. Up to you.
Yeah. You could even do a 2-person just F1 league if you really wanted to.
Just Pat and Pat's buddy. Just do an F1 draft.
I'm down. If anyone wants to do a pure F1 league, let me know.
You literally could just draft all F1 and then see who wins. I mean, go for it. That's what's cool about it. If you don't want to do all of those sports that he just showed, you like a lot of people have done the leagues where it's just like 6 sports. It's like the 4 major
What
sports.
is WBC?
World Baseball Classic.
Cool.
That's only existed like 3 times. They started it, I want to say like 2001, 2003, and it was going to be in every 4 year, like a World Cup, but a baseball version of it. It's international.
Interesting.
And then the last time they ran it was 2017. It was supposed to happen at 2021 again, but because of COVID, it's now 2023. It's been 6 years. So it's 2009, 2013, 2017. I think maybe are the only 3 times it's ever run. Maybe 2009 was the first. Maybe 2005 was the first. But it's not like a very famous one, but they're trying to build up like a World Cup style for baseball, which is kind of cool. Like Japan has a really good team. And then there's a lot of Latin countries that have great teams. Dominican Republic are the favorites. USA's got a good team. It's like a pretty fun little contest. That's
I like that idea.
Starting in March during spring training, and we'll finish in March. It'll be the first Omni Fantasy thing to finish. So if you're going to start an Omni Fantasy League, you want to get that in before World Baseball Classic.
That's another thing I do sometimes factor in is that I haven't drafted a ton of Champions League this year, but that's one that I generally kind of look at because it's like stuff that's going to take place in the NFL offseason. Like if the whole point of this to some degree is to like kind of keep the drafting spirits high while we don't have football, like doing something that you're actually going to be watching in March is pretty
But that's what I love about this too, is because you have World Baseball Classic, you have college basketball right behind it. We do the Champions League, which is already pretty far along. Champions League's like a slow interspersed in their main league seasons. It's a slow contest. A lot of it takes place in the fall. They're already in the round of 16. But those matches, there were some matches today, if I'm not mistaken, in Champions League. Those are like the first leg of the round of 16 are hitting right now. And then you have the golf majors start up right away. And then you obviously have the hockey and NBA playoffs come right behind. We get like 6 events in the first like 3 or 4 months of Omni, which is kind of cool. That's the time of the calendar when I really enjoy Omni. And then kind of just goes back burner during football season, and you see if you won at the end.
Right. Yeah. You see, what I like is you're like, oh, I got a football team. I would also recommend drafting an NFL team that has like, that isn't like the Titans. Like give yourself a shot because it's kind of fun to go like, I still got that NFL team. Maybe I'll win.
Yeah. And we've been digging up some of the old ones. I forget who it was. I think it was our friend Court Smith dug up a screenshot of the Rams going in the 4th round of our draft last year, the Los Angeles Rams. So yeah, there's you realize quickly how bad we are at predicting all of this stuff. Speaking of being bad about predicting things months in advance, I say we hop in.
Yes,
big board draft. All right, which of you sickos want to join us? 200K up top. Some of us call that what would it be? The 1/20th of the Crane? Is that
now? Did you have any input on? Do you have any input on the payout structure? Because it's like 200K up top, and then like 1K to second or something. And I feel like maybe you're just like, look, man, we just need someone to catch up with Crane.
Every prize structure is now called the Chasing Karain structures, and no one's chasing Karain with second place. I mean, come on.
I just think flatter payout structures, flatter payout structures.
Says the guy who won $2 million.
We don't need these big prizes up top, okay?
Dude, if you wanted to go full heel turn after winning $2 million, it would to be just run on a platform of like, these payout structures are fucking absurd. Just make it your one bit on Twitter.
I kind of want to do it. To be honest, I want to fully go into the flat payout structure guy.
You get to do the Liam thing, which you win the lotto, and then you get to play all the high stakes tournaments with better payout structures.
That's true. I am going to be doing that.
Yeah. It looks like we got some overflows going tonight. You guys can keep us posted. We drew the 1-9 slot. See lots of friends here. Chipsy, Willis, we got Nez, we got Jonathan. Do your research. All right. Yeah. Vaporware, short gamer. Okay. Yeah. This is a full on piss boys draft right here.
Oh boy.
Michael is looking to fill the little board. That's the 2 max contest, $3 2 max. Make sure you're jamming in your entries there. Got auto drafted Michael Gallup in one of my little board drafts the other day. Tough scene.
2 max. I didn't even realize. I was like, oh, this is fun. A little warm up draft.
2 max. All right. Let me get my screen all situated here. All right. So I'm just telling you guys right now, we do this shit every single time. I'm telling you, the Avalanche is here, and just do not fall in love with a running back. Even if he helped you win $2 million.
In love with a running back?
AJ Brown is who I would take in a normal draft here. I would take him
over Austin Eckler.
I would take AJ Brown. I've been taking AJ Brown. Eckler's
I'm writing Austin Eckler an anonymous letter because he doesn't know who I am. That his buddy Pat Kerrane isn't on his team anymore.
Hey man, fall to the 1-2 turn and I'm in.
Look at this one running back pick so far.
Good God.
Oh wow. Okay, we are just so fully back. Amon-Ra St. Brown going at 111.
Jesus.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
This is where I start to think about
Jalen Waddle at 112. Here's an over-under for you. How many times will Jalen Waddle go in the first round in drafts this year? It's got to be like sub 1% of drafts.
Jesus.
This is sick.
We do this to ourselves. You guys realize that, right? And what I love is you started this show.
What do you mean?
Click on the receivers. There's no
honestly, I would take Chris Olave here. I would be fine taking Chris Olave.
Well, click receivers. Can we see the ones that are available? You just want to go straight Olave?
Olave's my next receiver here, and I actually think he belongs with the rest of these guys.
Why wouldn't Debo go ahead of him?
Well, he's a clear alpha, and they could get a quarterback upgrade.
Olave?
Yeah, I mean he dominated targets from the jump. Maybe not clear.
I would not.
He's got the second year breakout.
Alpha. His numbers look incredible from his rookie year. I would not describe him as a clear alpha. You look at his long view, you look at his college stuff. I would not describe him as a clear alpha. His target competition, there was no alpha. So, that'll happen with non-alphas. They'll look like alphas in those situations sometimes.
Yeah, but starting in week 2, his first 3 targets were like elite. And that was when Thomas and Landry were healthy. So he pretty immediately established himself as like the top guy in the offense.
Definitely very good. He's definitely a high floor for this year and for his career. I agree. I
think do I think I want to take him here ahead of Austin Eckler normally? And Jonathan Taylor, by the way, still on the board? No, but with Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle, and Amon-Ra St. Brown off the board, then I think he very much belongs with that group. By the way, you get him in the 3rd round like every single time. So
I loved Pete. You opened it also by saying that everyone is fighting us for the rookie. So we might as well, like, the one thing that we could have in our favor is like, oh yeah, we're going to load up on the rookies. But you went ahead and announced from the top that that's our game plan. Like we like to let everyone know what we like to do.
Gretch, every single one of these guys in this show.
No, I understand that, but it's like I realize
we're live right now.
But when he said that, I was like, yeah. I mean, we already killed the receivers. Couldn't we just do the rookies for one draft?
I mean, what, Pat, do you want to, tell the, hang on, I know we need to update this clip, but I mean, it has to be played.
Oh, dear God.
112 Waddle is the new 112 Pittman.
Oh man.
I mean, 204 Olave might be the 112 Pittman. That's great.
Look at this fully loaded start. You want to see a guy that's buried in an avalanche. I hope he's got his flare gun, man. CMC, JT, Josh Allen. Josh Allen there is the ballsy pick.
Yeah, that's the one I don't think you can get away with in this room, but we'll see. I mean, he's probably thinking, shit, he's going at the 15th pick usually.
Fully
Hurts would have been tempting if he came to us.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a running back avalanche since we took Olave. Go back to that board. I mean, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in like 10 picks? That's
people scooped him up. They scooped that value.
Now the
I
receivers.
mean, the wide receivers are done. Like, I don't. Who are you taking in the second round?
Yeah, I mean, Mike Williams.
yeah.
I would take Mark Andrews here.
Andrews is fine.
Andrews the tight end gets tough later, so it gives us a few more dart throw options. Like
Yeah,
picks,
everyone-
I mean, with probably more picks to spend.
Gretch, do you have someone?
I
you
haven't
like?
done any drafts. I'm fine with whatever you guys want to do.
I will say, like, it's pretty easy to do 3 tight end builds in these just because so many of both the rookies and like the second year guys are really cheap. Like,
It is.
but, yeah.
But I actually think you can do a 3 tight end build with Andrews. It's like there's no real tight ends past about round 14. There's like no tight ends because like we don't know who the Bengals tight end is. We don't know. Tyler Higbee could get cut. Like there's a bunch of guys who like are kind of like holding down jobs, but probably don't have those jobs.
Yeah.
Oh my God, DJ Moore at the turn. I thought he'd come back.
You thought DJ Moore would come back?
I mean, it's 404. I saw his ADP was like in the 6th round. Like people hate him now. I was like, that's great.
Can we grab another receiver here before it gets dry again?
Yeah, I mean, what,
No.
Judy or London?
I like London a lot.
Let's just take JSN.
London is a pretty sweet pick.
Why?
He's a second-year guy.
They're off. Like Arthur Smith's back. Their offense sucks.
All right. I mean, I'll go JSN.
I would go Judy over London if you want to go vet.
I'd rather go.
I'd go
JSN
Pittman.
than
I think Pittman's fine at this price. Like
I
Yeah,
can't
sure,
keep
Pittman.
track of you guys at all your
Oh
changes.
wow! Look at that. Completely out of sorts. Pete in offseason
No.
mode.
No, you guys threw out literally 4
You
different
dragged
names over
up
there.
too high,
Yes.
and he came down to the bottom. I
was
saw you do it.
updating in real fucking time.
I
saw
think,
you do it, dude.
I think Pittman was probably the pick there. Actually, I wasn't really thinking about him because I'm just like opposed to him. But in a really wide receiver heavy draft, to still get him in the 4th round, he's still good. He actually had a good year this year. I mean,
Yeah, he's solid.
I didn't
Protect the
want
quarterback.
him in any drafts last year, but I did predict that I'd be in on him for 2023 because that he would fall. And people he didn't have the great. I mean, he had a better year than I thought he would have, but people are still out on him this year. It's kind of nice.
I'm surprised you're not like a little higher on Drake London. He flashed some stuff, and he's a second-year guy, and he was a very strong prospect.
I'm going to be more concerned about offensive stuff, I think. I mean, like actually trying to predict some of these offenses that can be – I do think it's a new NFL to a certain degree. We saw a lot of offenses being more not necessarily just run heavy, but like more quarterback option stuff. It brought down play volume in some of those offenses. Like the Bears were a team, you didn't want any receiver from them at any point. Giants for most of the year didn't want any receivers. Falcons are the obvious one. I mean, even like teams like the Eagles, who did it very well and were very effective, I think it held back the ceilings of their various pieces. Obviously, A.J. Brown had a great year. Devonta Smith had a very good year. But they were like the absolute elite part of it. I'm kind of jumping the shark talking about them with this trend. But I'm going to be a little bit more concerned about the offenses like that. And I think with Arthur Smith back, probably Desmond Ridder starting, I don't think you're going to get that great of an improvement in their offensive environment for the Falcons.
Probably not. Although they were in a weird position where they like weren't bad enough on defense, and like they often were hanging with teams. So
Right.
like you could end up in situations where, you know, they just refused to pass the ball. And so maybe they just would continue doing that. But I think there's got to be a breaking point where they're like, okay, we're down 20, we have to throw.
I was hoping for that for most of the year, but I mean, Sean put it really well on Stealing Bananas halfway through the year, where he was like, Arthur Smith's whole thing is like, when they're down, he wants to run to stay in. When they're up, he wants, he's established. Like he thinks they need to. When they're down, he thinks they need to establish the run.
Wait,
When they're
okay,
winning,
it's Tony Pollard here. We got to take
Yes.
Tony Pollard. That I'm hammering him in the 4th. I think he should be going in like the early 3rd. So
ahead of
Anyone
Swift.
else? Anyone else you're interested
yeah,
in?
I love him ahead of Swift.
You like Pollard over Swift with a broken
Yes.
leg?
He's an ankle,
I mean,
right?
it's an ankle.
All right.
He'll be fine. Please
Do you
take
think
Harris
he's
out of the
for
queue.
sure their lead back? What if they bring Zeke back?
I think he's he's flashing as like one of the most talented running backs in the entire league. I'm hoping they bring Zeke back. I think that bringing Zeke back is what you want, because I've been comparing it to like peak Kamara with Mark Ingram. Like, you're going to have Zeke kind of stealing some stuff, but like we're talking about like the dregs of the Mark Ingram days. So he's going to steal some of the early down work, steal some of the trap touches. He's going to steal some touchdowns too, but you actually don't want Zeke gone, in my opinion, because this is a pretty deep running back class. Like, there's a guy in this class who's going to have more juice than Zeke that's available in like the 3rd, 4th round. Zeke's got nothing left. He's complete dust.
Yeah, I actually think that's a great point. You probably do want it back. But, I mean, Pollard is – I've always been a huge fan of Pollard. He's a very good player, but, like, he's going to be 26. Like, this idea that he's flashing as one of the best running backs in the league, I'm here for it. It would be – it would be a sort of a late career breakout for sure if he's suddenly, like, a superstar.
It would, but we know why it is. We've been pounding the table for them to play him. They do play him, and he crushes every time they play him. So I agree, it's weird, but we know why.
All right, are we doing a wide receiver here, or we? I don't want to draft one of these running backs.
Quentin Johnston here.
I could do Deontay Johnson here. Oh, you want to do another rookie?
I'm going to give Gretch. Pat's bullied his way into some picks. Gretch gets his Deontay Johnson share.
There we go. I don't love Deontay Johnson, but I mean, in a wide receiver avalanche, to get him in the 6th round, he still earns targets. He's just really low in efficiency last year.
Pat's just out on Kenny Pickett, so he's docking everyone.
Yeah,
I don't hate taking Deontay Johnson there. I'm actually
147 targets last year, 0 touchdowns. Like, that's probably not going to happen again.
Yeah, I'm like more, I think, down relative to market on George Pickens than Deontay Johnson. I kind of have them like right next to each other, and it feels like there's a lot more optimism for Pickens.
This is a pretty good start. So everything you said about Pollard, doesn't that apply to DeAndre Swift? Like, but he's younger too. Like, he's shown a lot of I guess maybe he doesn't flash the same. Like,
he hasn't flashed the same. He hasn't, like, if you look at, like, I mean, his success rate as a rusher is bad.
Yeah.
Like, he's got like some real flaws as a rusher. He's a hitter. He's a boom bust rusher. He's definitely explosive. He's good in the passing game. But like, you look at like the advanced stuff, like the rush yards over expected per attempt, success rate, Pollard crushes. There's nothing about Pollard's profile that says he shouldn't be getting treated as like a clear-cut lead back superstar. Swift, I get why the Lions are like not leaning on him. And so you kind of have to project things to like the situation to break his way a little bit more, I think, because like I don't think he's quite as talented as a pure rusher as Pollard.
He's shorter, weighs a little bit more. He's 3 inches shorter on PFR, weighs a little more. Swift. I mean, I was going to say with Pollard, maybe like the size thing has always been kind of a knock. Is Swift, at least from a size perspective, someone that profiles more as a heavier workload back? I don't think the Lions are going to do that with him ever.
They were playing Justin Jackson.
Yeah.
Like, they significant snaps last year. And heading into the year, the big knock on Swift was in between the tackles running. We saw in Hard Knocks, they're like, he had a big outside run, and they'd be yelling at him like, dude, you got to fucking take it up, run the play as designed. And then he loses touches to Jamal Williams all year, especially around the goal line. He's losing short yardage work to Jamal Williams. Like,
yeah, but career low,
coincidence.
Career low 46 receptions, and he's never played more than 14 games. He's had at least 46 in every season in these shorter seasons. Tony Pollard just tied his career high this year with 39. So
okay,
Swift's got a significant advantage in receptions and receiving volume.
Yeah, I like Swift. I'm taking him. Like, I think he's good in the 4th. I just think Pollard is like silly good in the 4th.
Yeah, you got me swayed on Pollard.
Board is real gross right now. You guys got anything you like?
Well, we could take a second running back, but what are our options?
I mean, wide receiver is a fucking wasteland right now. So
is Lockett gone?
Lockett's long gone.
Okay.
I don't know what receiver. I don't know what running back to take from that list.
I don't, like Aaron Jones.
We could go Dak and get
Aaron Jones is good at football.
I'm gonna do Aaron Jones,
right.
But I've had a hard time. I mean, this is obviously a unique room, but I've had a hard time with this tier of quarterbacks. I like just going a little bit further down to the Tua, Daniel Jones, Lance,
I like that.
I generally do as well. Yeah.
I don't like
But
that.
there's no
QB
receivers
either.
here. Normally you can get like the last.
Right.
I mean, normally I get Burks here. Burks
The
is
running
usually what
back that
take
I
at
think
7.
should have went there and is way lower on ADP. We didn't need to take him. I mean, we're probably not going to go running
Do you want to
back
just
again.
wait and then we'll take it
Yeah.
for next week?
All right.
Mister,
I'll wait.
we just telegraphed our entire
Yeah,
strategy. Wants to say
yeah,
who he
you're the
hopes
one.
falls back.
I figured we wouldn't take another back because we've already taken 2.
We're up
It's
in like 3 picks.
all right, we're broadcasting our strategy. Like, I'm trying to help the people.
It's fine. It's fine.
I say this year we just do everything in code and don't let anyone know what we actually think. The whole offseason.
Let's not even talk. Let's do Morse code. Let's just bang
Let's
on it.
remember when Pat floated Tyler Lockett, who went at pick 46 when we were picking at pick 81.
I mean, he's frequently available in like the 6th. I guess I was a little hopeful that he'd be here in the 7th, but
no, we're looking at Darnell Mooney DPJ territory here.
Jesus, DPJ.
For the audio listeners, the wide receiver avalanche, so far our team here, A.J. Brown, Chris Olave, Mark Andrews, JSN, Tony Pollard, Deontay Johnson, Aaron Jones, and we are back on the clock.
Do you guys want to take another running back?
I'd rather go Dak, and because it gets so
Yeah.
gross at quarterback.
Do it. We got Pollard.
These
Stack and
that.
Pollard stack.
yeah,
Stack this bitch up.
Stack this
Stack that bitch up.
I love this this quote. Just cancel the show. The ship's been chased. I mean, I do want to ride Pat's coattails there. I mean, me and Pete were joking. We're gonna have to deal with these comments all offseason about how at the very beginning of the show someone was like, "Oh yeah, Pat on his way to 4 million." Like, fuck off. But I like riding these coattails where we're like, yeah, the ship's been chased. We don't have to win anything anymore. At least one of us. Pat won 2 million.
This show has won the most money of any show, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. We are the most profitable show.
The chat needs to get their messaging straight because they were honest for starting the show like 1 minute late and just begging us to fire up the show and then also saying to cancel the show. So you guys need to huddle. Let us know what it is. Start on time or don't start at all.
Oh man.
Now, see, Trevor's asking the questions that everyone should be asking. Do the Cowboys correlate with the Packers in Week 17? I have already heard about some galbrainers up there stacking divisional teams, just hoping to bank some Week 17 correlation equity.
That's insane.
Honestly, it's not.
It's not insane.
Totally insane. Because you could bank a Week 15 or 16 matchup as well, which would be nothing. So I guess how crazy are you doing? Are you breaking ties? I think if you're breaking ties, it's fine.
Why
Shark
do you think we have?
Just, I mean, you're right. It's not insane. We don't get
Just
the
picture
schedule
it.
till May. Like that, you can't draft without. I get it. Like, only after May can we care about the Week 17 correlations? I mean, no. I mean, it's the next level, but it's insane. It's a world that's foreign to me. I didn't do a million underdog drafts last year. I don't know the Week 17 correlations like the back of my hand. You guys are on a next level now for an outsider. Like that's wild. Trying to predict
there is more of an argument to
matchups.
just go pure stacking, but part of me feels like some of these ADPs are just so off from what I think they should be that I'm like, I'm just gonna try to outpick everybody right now.
Just stack a division you love, all 4 teams, and you're probably going to get at least 1 Week 17
Yeah.
matchup. You might get 2.
It's likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could get 2. And you're likely to get at least a Week 15, 16, or 17, which like if a game blows up in Week 15 and you have it stacked, it's not nearly as valuable as having it in Week 17, but you get a team through potentially that you might not have otherwise. So it's not fully insane. If you're like going out of your way, then it's probably quite
Nick asking about
EV. But
Nick asking about AJ Brown's cornerback matchup in Week 17. It's a trick question. AJ Brown's cornerback matchup has never mattered. Everyone else is we could have a bit about, but AJ Brown is too good for a cornerback.
What is this? Like the guys left here, it's so bad.
Should we take Dalton to stack up with this Dak bet and be done at tight end?
Yeah.
What about Freiermuth?
He's a free agent, yeah.
What about Freiermuth and we build? Yeah, because he's a free agent. Freiermuth gives us a second steal.
Oh, you're leading us into Kenny Pickett.
Oh,
leading us into Kenny Pickett.
Loves Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, give me some credit here. You know how I feel about Kenny Pickett. I steers away from a free agent. That's another dude. Why is Dalton Schultz going where he's going? If he doesn't sign with the Cowboys, he's like a 17th round value.
Everyone I've seen some screenshots floating around of people saying he's going to be a Los Angeles.
That's a dynasty thing though. Like everyone, anytime a guy's a free agent, it's like, oh, he's going to go to the one place where his value will increase.
And it never happens. If that did happen, I would be okay. I'd be in on Dalton Schultz. We just said there's nowhere where it would be good for him. I'd be in on him with the Chargers.
Yeah, but like it's like a small win, huge loss type of bet. Like if he
they don't have
to
cap.
the Chargers, they don't have cap.
He's gonna get money in free agency, and people are talking about them cutting Keenan Allen because they have so little cap. I don't think he lands with the Chargers. That doesn't make sense.
I don't either. And even if he did, where would he go? I
love this from Dan. He'll go to the Patriots, probably. Another tight end to go with Jonnu and Hunter Henry.
Great fit, Dan. Great fit.
Great fit. The running back I was gonna say was Cam Akers. J.K. Dobbins was like next up, and Javonte Williams had just gone. Akers looked like his pre-injury self late in the year. A rocky year prior to that, but we know that the Achilles are often 18-month recovery windows. I was completely out on him last year. I was not rooting for him. Having watched him late in the year, I have to admit he looked like his pre-injury self, and I want to be back in on him now. I think he's going to have a decent year this year.
What do you guys think about Dobbs and maybe leave us with a Jordan Love out?
I'm okay with Dobbs. Yeah, because we already have the Aaron Jones.
Roll the clip.
I mean, fine. If you insist.
Romeo W. Romeo W.
Second and 5. Strong to the end zone. It's a touchdown. It's over.
Ball for Dubs who adjusts. Who's got it? I'm a young fly stunner. I'm the coldest in the game. And I told him I would do it, so I actually did it. I was trying to get some money, but the fame came with it.
I'd like to take Romeo Dubs so we get a little Minnesota bring back in week 17.
Let's go.
They'll take a shot to the end zone. It's Dubs. Play action. Setting up wide open downfield. That is Dubs.
Throw your dubs up. Throw your dubs up.
Pat's gone.
This guy's won too much money to fucking sit here and throw the Dubs up with the rest of us. That felt good. That felt really good. But like all jokes aside, I know this is a piss boy draft, but don't you think he's a little undervalued? Like the pocket where he's going. Like I feel like Christian Watson and his injury stuff has just really depressed his value in a way that doesn't fully make sense to me. I've been taking him in a lot of these.
I think he makes sense. He didn't perform from an efficiency standpoint as well as we would have liked in year one. He's a lower draft capital guy. Watson's got the edge, one, because he was efficient, two, because of draft capital. He's definitely going to play all year. If they add other people, Dobbs is the one that could lose playing time, snaps, routes. But I still I like the bet, a year two bet. Like after KJ Osborne, yes, I'm in. Yes.
Yeah. And A. Schmal mentioning Lazard could be gone as well. I'm kind of excited about this Jordan Love, Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, keep the running back continuity. I don't know. I think it could be fun.
I like it.
I'm trying to see any other. So Jonathan takes Trey Lance at pick 91, which is definitely more where he should be going. He's going much later in regular drafts. Yeah, ADP of 105. Lance has been a screaming value. Did you see the stuff about Purdy with they can't even do the surgery right now because he has so much inflammation?
I didn't see that, but this is the stuff I was talking about right away. Like, it didn't make any sense to me that everyone seems to be ready for training camp. It felt wildly optimistic. I was saying from when we found out about the injury, like I felt like he's probably going to be missing most of this year. And the reports have been, he's their starter. He's going to be back. I just think you're going to get negative reports on that the whole offseason. I think people are way too down on Lance too, generally. Like if Purdy can start, we're on the clock. We can talk about Lance in a second.
All right. We got 25 seconds here.
I like Khalil Herbert a lot. Montgomery's a free agent.
I'll put him in the queue. Wide receivers. Thomas Gallup, Renfro, Alec Pierce, Odell Beckham, Chase Claypool.
I think it's solid.
Just redacted him.
Alec Pierce, we did?
No, he redacted the clip. You read all the receivers and didn't read Sky Moore's name.
No.
I just figured Khalil Herbert with our NFC North Week 17 stack just makes too much sense.
It makes so much sense, dude. Yeah. Wait, so that's interesting you say that about Trey Lance. I think might be like one of the worst picks on the board.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
I do.
No.
I think, look, you're the guy who did the week 17 is all that matters video. He does not have job security for week 17. Like, what do you win when you win? You win like a guy who maybe helps you advance a little bit for the first round.
Okay, but like
at the
2
cost
years
of
ago, you were arguing with me that he was better than Justin Fields. And I think the market at large was really into his upside and is now really out because he sat for a year, which we didn't really knock him for, and then he got injured right away. We haven't seen him play, but now everyone's talking about, he doesn't have any reps, this and that. That was already a concern 2 years ago. Like, that was a concern for me coming in. I think everyone has overcorrected massively. We don't know what he is. There's still a ton of potential.
It's a season-long versus best ball thing, man. It blows a huge,
Pat, did you say
hole in your
Claypool?
roster.
Hang on, real quick. Did you say Claypool?
I don't like Claypool very much.
I
would take Sky Moore as my next guy.
I would take Sky Moore.
What about
Yes.
Honestly, would take Sky Moore.
Roll the clip. Do it.
Sky Moore, 2 Ys.
It's the fucking sickest name I've ever seen for a wide receiver in my goddamn life. Sky's up!
Oh, let's go.
2023 is the year where we get it all back.
Where did we take him?
Pat already won it all.
We took him in the 12th round, pick 136. Let's go back to the Lance stuff because that's more interesting than fucking being back on our bullshit with Sky Moore. Sacrilegious nails it for me here. When Trey Lance hit, he doesn't have the risk of losing his job in week 17. They won't bench him if he's crushing.
No, that's not true for fantasy because the whole thing you can't have it both ways with the Lance profile thing. The whole reason that we want Lance is because basically it doesn't matter how good he is because he's going to run so much. But now it does matter how good he is if this Brock Purdy UCL, and that's the big wild card. Is this UCL thing going to keep him out for the whole year? Because that would change my take on this a bit. But they've been so optimistic that he'll be back for the beginning of the season that I'm at least getting nervous about Lance for the last 3 weeks of the season. And if you're taking a guy in like the 9th, 10th round that doesn't have fantasy playoff job security when all the money is in winning week 17 in these super top heavy payout structures, it just doesn't make sense, especially when you can get Bryce Young later. You can get Anthony Richardson in the very last rounds of these, who's like literally the same profile.
Security doesn't matter with a single one of these fucking picks. Like if Tony Pollard
I'm talking specifically about you want guys who are peaking in the final weeks of the season. You've got a guy in Anthony Richardson who is the same type of like pure upside physical rushing plus downfield throwing. You're getting him like 7-8 rounds later. And he, I think, is just as good a bet to start in the fantasy.
Not on the Niners. I want to make another case on Purdy where we were on the show. And I remember, like, I don't know, the last time we had Leone on, I think, because I remember I talked about how me and Dalton took him over at Stealing Lines, like 125-1 to win the Rookie of the Year, right when he started because the Niners situation was so well set up. I thought they could win out. He ends up getting 3rd in the Rookie of the Year by starting like 5 or 6 games. It was a really good hedge. We had the other favorites. We ended up winning a bunch of money on the Rookie of the Year. It was great. Pat's on the back to us. Purdy, before that run, was nothing. I think the Niners situation made him look very good, just like it's made every other quarterback look good. Sure. And I would argue
it was never been efficient.
With the way that the running quarterbacks were so important in the 2022 season, I just talked about all the offenses. Jalen Hurts, the Giants, the Falcons, the Bears, a lot of these teams. Trey Lance would have fucking smashed in Kyle Shanahan's system this year. I think he would have he's like one of the biggest what ifs for me, but he would have had a monster 2022. I think next year he adds a dynamic to an already great offense that has so many weapons and an awesome offensive line. I'm not saying he can't fail, but this idea that he has to make like a massive jump as a passer and be this like incredible passer, I think is like erroneous. Like Daniel Jones never been a good passer, didn't have to be effective in the modern NFL. Marcus Mariota, not a great passer. Good, not great. Was effective because of his mobility. Lance is they're going to win games with Lance, just like they won games with Purdy. It's a great situation to start in.
We have a big
Yeah,
bet
they weren't
on the
winning games
Steelers.
with Lance.
Should we just lock up Pickett here?
Yeah,
as
let's
our
lock up
QB2?
Pickett. Wait, they lost to the Bears in that rain game, and then he was looking.
That was a
pretty shitty in
freaking monsoon, dude. That was a nonsense game.
Yeah, all right. I mean, I don't think it's helpful to him that literally the Mr. Irrelevant can come in and run the offense and look very, very strong. I don't think that's a good thing for Trey Lance. I think that's a bad thing.
I'm not saying it is. What I'm saying is
they know they have that option.
I guess what I'm saying is from the moment Lance went down, my opinion, and I said it on pods at the time, was that this is what people are going to do in the offseason with Lance. And from the moment Purdy took over, I said it. And that's why we took a 125-1 long shot on Rookie of the Year, just as a small hedge. But I said that he was going to look better than he is, and people are going to do this with Purdy in the offseason. If you can see these things going into it because of the system itself, because of the market viewing it, I don't want to then fall into a trap of...
Let's make a quick pick, guys.
All right.
Because I don't know who to fucking take.
I don't either.
I actually like Antonio Gibson as like a pure handcuff
Gibson's
type
cool,
of pick.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Gibson's a
pretty
really
strong
good athlete
handcuff.
that's been effective enough. Yeah,
in the 14th round, like,
yeah,
he's a great. I mean, if
I love him there.
Brian Robinson would have missed a few games, he would be a massive hit.
I mean, he might just beat him out. Like Brian Robinson wasn't that good.
No, he was not very good.
So, but on the Lance thing, Pat, too, just like I agree with you about the job security stuff, but let's price him where he normally is going, which is in like the 11th round.
No, he's not normally in the 11th round. He's normally in like the 9th or 10th, I think.
9th or well, I just looked at his ADP. What was it? 105. Yeah. So that puts him in the middle of the 9th. All right. But still, you have to concede there are the scenarios where he is the starter and he does fucking fantasy monster, because we've seen Kyle Shanahan turn these guys into monsters with far less talents. Like the upside scenario has not changed.
The upside scenario is good. But I don't know that because it's quarterback, it's not like as strong. Like if you hit on a guy in the 9th round, the upside scenario comes through at another position, it's going to do more for your team than if you hit on the quarterback. Like Fields did a lot.
Hurts in the 9th round this year was a huge pick. But Pete, I think
he didn't go in the 9th round. I took him a ton. He went in the 5th and 6th.
Well, even higher. Your point is 9th round's not going to win.
Yeah, no, even higher. But I mean, are you guys think that Trey Lance can do what Hurts did? Because he has not been good.
I do.
He's not been good.
Of course,
his completion percentage over expected for his career has been horrendous. The guy,
he's thrown like 20 passes, and most of them were in the monsoon. But Chip Skylar,
he's at 173. He's 173 plays in his career. He has a worse completion percentage over expected than Mike Glennon. He's barely above Zach Wilson. He's worse than Mason Rudolph.
Pat, he's thrown 102 passes, and 28 of them came in a monsoon.
All right. He has not flashed elite talent, and you can get guys who have the exact same profile, granted not in the 49ers, but you can get a guy like Anthony Richardson for free. So to me,
but those things aren't mutually exclusive. You can have Trey Lance and Anthony Richardson. And I would bet a lot of money Anthony Richardson is not going to have the coach, the weapons, or the offensive line that Trey Lance has.
Or a guy who's probably better in the system than he is breathing down his neck.
The other thing, Pat, about the Trey Lance stuff is with the quarterback landscape like it is right now, where we're having these quarterbacks, and again, this draft is actually unusual because these guys normally go in round 2. The gap now between the elite quarterbacks where they're being drafted and the rest of them is so massive that finding the one guy that can legitimately finish top 5, like Jared Goff can't finish top 5. Geno Smith can't finish top 5. Trey Lance can actually challenge the guys that people are taking in the 2nd round. And that has a massive value in these tournaments.
But Pete, Chip Skylark made a great point a few minutes ago. I'm with Pat. He won $2 million. He's right about Lance. It's an easy game. And then AGT just backs it up. I'll side with the $2 million on this one. I think we are going to have a long. The chat's talking about a long offseason of Trey Lance's course. We are going to have a long offseason of arguing with the guy who won $2 million.
Look, I do want to be, if we're kind of making that kind of joke, I will say this is a best ball take. This is a best ball take for me, where I think the downside of losing out on a 10th round pick at quarterback, when
I think that's a fair take,
you're going to have maybe one other pick that, like, if he you're actually, it's a thinner bet than it seems because you need him. You need him to have the job the whole season at his cost. It's not at a 9th round pick, early 10th round pick. It's not like, oh, it'll be fine if he, you know, if Purdy ends up taking the job because he'll be so good that he'll get me there. It's like, no, dude, he's not a 16th round pick. Like,
hang on real quick. What do you guys think about getting our third QB with Jordan Love since we have Dobbs and Jones?
Go for it.
I don't love Love for the same reasons I don't love Lance, but
we've already made a big bet on the Packers.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Yeah.
I think it's a good pick.
What were we? I had something to say to what was the last point you just made, Pat?
That it's best ball. That for at the price, a 9th, 10th round pick, it's just like if you take him in season long, like we did in NFFC, right? In our NFFC league, we took Lance, I believe, in the 9th round, and obviously he gave us nothing. We started him 2 weeks. It was worse than if he just had gotten hurt before the year because we started him for the 2 weeks, didn't help us. And then we had to go find another quarterback. That doesn't hurt you. Like, take the biggest swing you can at quarterback in season long because you can cut the guy, you can move on.
Look at the price structures. You need to take the fucking biggest swing in best ball too.
See, I don't necessarily. Well, let's pick because
okay, we're done with
Singletary.
quarterback.
Oh yeah, Singletary went. That would have been my running back.
I love Rashad Penny.
Wait, is there rookies like good rookie running backs? Who's this Rashawn Johnson guy? Is that a rookie?
I don't love him. I'd rather take Penny over him.
All right. Oh yeah,
Dwayne McBride's interesting.
Penny's a good pick. Penny's a good pick.
He's like Dwayne McBride's basically like exactly the same profile as Rashad Penny.
But Penny's we're pretty confirmed Penny's good for best ball.
Penny's good.
Yeah,
Penny's
whatever games we get out of him are going to be positives probably. Hope asked, "What do you guys or any thoughts on Kittle saying it's Purdy's job to lose?" I saw that quote too, and I was like, I took note of that. Like he's obviously a locker room leader there. Their emotional like guy on their offense. But I did see someone else ask him. It might have been Matt Harmon about Lance specifically, or maybe it was on like the McAfee show. Like he did a lot of interviews, and that one got a lot of headlines in the fantasy community, especially on social. But I saw someone ask him about Lance, and he had nothing but like awesome things to say about Lance. Said he was an incredible kid, like the exact kind of guy you want to play with, guy you want to root for, and he was like, "We're good either way." Whoever's job it is, like whoever ends up winning it, we're going to be in a great position. He had like some other really positive comments about Lance that didn't get as much circulation, but during the same Super Bowl week. And I think once I heard that, I was like, well, then I'm not as concerned about what Kittle said because you would expect him right after losing the NFC Championship game, which Purdy, you rode him all the way there, to be high on Purdy at that point, right? But
the other thing you're getting with the Lance stuff is because of all the uncertainty with Purdy, you're getting like some inertia, momentum, equity of like he is probably going to be their starting quarterback in the preseason and probably will be the starting quarterback at the start of the season. Like that would not have been a guarantee if Brock Purdy was fully healthy. And so you are getting additional outs too, that he's actually going to get another crack. And that's valuable in itself.
That's valuable. He's going to get a crack at the starting job for sure from the jump. But like, that does not seem like a well-priced bet to me in the 9th round, especially when we do have some rookie upside in this class. Like, I agree with you that we need to be getting upside. We need a lot of upside built into our roster. But when you take a quarterback in the 9th round, that actually creates opportunity cost at other positions. You're sacrificing upside at other positions. Can you get that upside later? And I think you can. I think you can get arguably more upside later for the playoff weeks. Like the other counter to that, though, in the big board specifically, with the 20 rounds, I do think the 3 quarterback builds are optimal in this format, and there's less opportunity cost than in the 18 rounds. That's fair.
And maybe I would go so far as to agree with you and saying if you're taking Trey Lance and you're only doing 2 quarterbacks, you could be in trouble. But Trey Lance, in the same way, tacking Anthony Richardson on as your 3rd quarterback, like, yeah, you are paying a higher price. But if you're thinking of Trey Lance as your YOLO 3rd quarterback, I don't think that's bad.
That sells me on it a bit. If that's how you're playing it, then and you're like, you know what, fuck it. Like, I just think maybe he like loses the job for a minute and then comes roaring back in the playoffs or something. And he crushes. And he's my low advance rate leverage play. As a 3rd quarterback, I don't hate it.
All All right, we have to pick. We are at a 3-5-6-2 build. We could use some more wide receivers here.
Terrace Marshall, I think, has a job.
I
So
kind of like
him.
Richie
He got
James.
a job.
I don't
David
think I don't
Bell?
know that he has a job, right? Isn't Wandale gonna run out of the slot?
Yeah.
Richie just got a contract.
Yeah, they also played Braxton Berrios.
I'm
so
fine with Terrace Marshall.
You gotta be careful.
Braxton Berrios?
Remember, Braxton Berrios got a contract ahead of the 2022 season.
Oh, I
he
thought you were
flashed a
saying
little bit.
Braxton Miller, the quarterback turned wide receiver from Ohio State. I totally blanked on who Braxton Berrios even is.
They'll pay some of these slot depth guys. Is my point. That doesn't mean they're playing.
Yeah. Braxton Berrios, New York Jets.
Yeah, I've been drafting a fair amount of Terrace Marshall just because I'm like, I think he's a starter, and he's under contract.
Yeah, he had a good enough year too that he's relevant again. It's like it's okay to be back in on him as a late round pick. I agree with that completely.
Devin
His
Duvernay's
rookie
another
year
guy
was bad enough that like it was you had to be done, and now it's like, oh well, there's life.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Yeah.
Jonathan in this draft, because he did have Lance and also had Debo and Ayuk. He's saying, does that change Pat's opinion at all? I assume, Pat, your argument is in a vacuum.
In a vacuum. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna if you're double stacking Lance, I'm not gonna.
We took two quarterbacks Pat doesn't like because we are stacked in Kenny Pickett and Jordan Love.
Exactly.
All right, let's get another wide receiver.
I don't mind Devin Duvernay. He's got a job. I actually don't mind David Bell.
I was just going to say David Bell.
I mentioned him
he's
a
going to be
second
a
ago.
starting
I'm in on that too.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. So far, we have two more picks. We're at a 3-5-8-2. Dak Prescott, Kenny Pick, Jordan Love. We have done good with our stacks here. Our running backs, Tony Pollard, Aaron Jones, Khalil Herbert, Antonio Gibson, Rashad Penny, wide receiver, A.J. Brown, Chris Olave, JSN, Deontay Johnson, Romeo Doubs, Sky Moore, Terrace Marshall, David Bell, tight end, Mark Andrews, and Pat Fryerman.
Who did we just draft? I don't remember.
David Bell.
I might need
David Bell.
a little refresher.
I think.
Who do we take?
Was it this one?
Oh, he's the manager of the Reds right now. This is David Bell.
We should do a highlight reel of him managing the Reds. That's my favorite clip we have.
It's so good. The Mariners at the end is amazing. He was a part of the 116 win Mariners team in 2001. David Bell, I mean, he wasn't like great or anything, but like definitely holds a special place in my Seattle heart. Safeco Field gets a shout out there. Best baseball.
There's so many good things about that clip. One, like David Bell had such a bad rookie year that now that clip actually seems mean when it was just two. When we go, I'm like
kind of fucked up.
Yeah, it's a little fucked up now. We did it before his rookie season. The other thing is that when I'm like, we should have a clip of him managing the Reds. Obviously, you think that's going to be boring and stupid. It's incredible. There's amazing highlights of this guy managing the Reds. He's in the spaces constantly.
Yeah, the highlights of him managing the Reds are the best. The one where he's got Jesse Winker behind him and he turns around and he gets in his own player's face, like back up, and then he turns back around and gets back in the own space. Such a good. Oh god, it's so good.
It's when I go into StreamYard and I look at who we have clips for, they're just like not a single good player.
What about Greg Dulcich, dude? We got that one. I nailed that
jury's
one.
Still out.
There's not a single good player.
Still out. Come on.
It's gonna happen at some point. At some point, we'll have a good player. But what fun would it be if we were rolling clips in the second round, Pete? I mean, they need to be like late in the draft. I mean, we did this on purpose.
I mean, look at some of these names going here.
You guys
Marvin Mims,
who we have to take here, right?
Israel Abanikanda, Tyler Scott, Kenny McIntosh.
There's this fourth year breakout receiver.
Oh my god!
He spent some time on the Panthers this year.
I'm in.
What? Are we just? We're at a 3-5-8-2. Two more picks.
We should really probably go. I would normally go running back and tight end here. I think. maybe not tight end with Andrews, but
I mean, I think we can still definitely go 3 tight ends here if we want. Who are we taking?
Probably a running back. Wait,
yeah, see what running back we have.
Quick.
Zonovan Knight?
I heard Zonovan
Eric
Knight.
Gray's fine.
Oh, probably that guy. He's a rookie. Pat knows the rookies. I don't know who that is.
He's not. I mean, he's not a particularly strong rookie bet. He's like a fine scratch off.
Okay.
We do need a KJ Hamler clip. How do
We
I
do
not
need
have
a
a
Hamler
KJ
clip.
Hamler clip? Jesus.
I just want to watch the Austin LaVisca clip. Austin LaVisca.
So if we want a third tight end, there's a guy that literally doesn't get drafted. I'm taking a lot.
Is he a rookie?
Yeah.
So what?
Is Darnell Washington available? Put Darnell Washington in the queue. This guy, you guys are gonna like him. This dude is massive. He is
How big?
He's like 6'7".
I want to put Albert O in the queue too. Speaking of massive dudes, like that was clearly a thing with the coaching staff. Albert O, a great buy in all formats right now.
Oh shit. This dude is fucking massive. Look at this photo.
They put him next to offense. They line him up next to offensive lineman.
It looks like a defensive end that caught an interception and is returning it.
He's rocking number 0, and he
rocks number 0. Dude, they seriously line him up. There's like, if you watch like the highlights and stuff, they at one point he lines up next to the left tackle. He comes around to the other side, lines up on the left side, and they're like, the guy he's next to, they're like, that dude's 6'4". And he's like towering over him. He's so much huger than the other dude.
All right, we're gonna need a Darnell Washington clip. Who's on the?
His
Darnell
numbers
Washington
aren't
clip?
massive because he's been playing with like the next Gronk and Brock Bowers in Georgia, but he had 450 yards despite being their second tight end this year.
Yeah,
I'm in. I like.
He's
that.
pretty solid. He's pretty solid. And that, by the way, that's not even the guy that I was talking about. Darnell Washington sometimes get drafted, so I take him when he's available in the last round. There's this other dude named Sam Laporta who's like kind of a George Kittle yards after catch type guy, and he's actually from Iowa. Oh, he already went.
I saw his name, I think, in the last round. Somebody's in on him, dude.
All right. Well, I've been talking him up. But yeah, Spags has been talking about this. There's a lot of like really fun 19th, 20th round tight end dart throws that are coming out as rookies right now.
He wears number 0. Just hurdling, dude. This is our generation's Donald Parham.
He's gigantic, man. He's Jelani Woods, but I think probably has a little bit more receiving prowess.
He's bigger than Parham, man. He's like more physical.
Yeah, I mean, he could test really well.
Parham's got the long legs, like shorter torso thing going on. I always feel like he's going to get his.
Dude, this guy wants to hurdle everyone. Like this shouldn't have been a hurdle, but watch this. He just goes for it.
He's like trying to catch me. Look at the guy who tried to get hurled by the. He's just like, I'm going to lay on the ground right now. That hurt. That hurt to get a hit to the face mask from that dude.
Yeah, all right. Dude. Here's our final team here. We did a 3-6-8-3 build. I'm going to bounce around. So we have Dak to Tony Pollard. We have Kenny Pickett to where goes our draft here?
Deontay and Freiermuth.
Kenny and Freiermuth. We double stack Pickett, which if you're taking Pickett, you better double stack.
You better stack that bitch up. Jordan Love to Aaron Jones and Romeo Dobbs. The rest of our running backs, Khalil Herbert, Antonio Gibson, Rashad Penny, Zonovan Knight. The rest of our wide receivers, AJ Brown, Chris Olave, JSN, Sky Moore, Terrace Marshall, David Bell. The manager, tight ends, Mark Andrews, Darnell Washington. Fun team.
Yeah.
Fun team.
Little weak at wide receiver. The depth at wide receiver will get you in these, man. And not just in the piss boy drafts, but normally. It's really tough. That's why, like, I'm taking Terrace Marshall and stuff because I'm like, I think he's starting.
Yeah,
so
that is
something.
That's a pretty thin receiver group. Dobbs.
I wonder how that happened.
Terrace Marshall, David Bell. We're gonna need. I mean, if we just would have taken Laviska Shenault at the end, we would have been fine.
Well, so this is. I think maybe I'm getting the sense that I'm on a different page than you guys here. But like, one thing that really struck me when I was looking at my best ball rosters. That like, we're going through the playoffs is just like you go through and you're like, God damn it, this team doesn't have a second tight end. This team doesn't have like this wide receiver got hurt. This running back got hurt. And so I'm like so thin for these playoff weeks. And obviously you need to get really lucky with injury health. But this time of year, there's like all this added like downside risk for every player.
Yeah.
And so I'm sort of thinking like where I can just like break ties towards like maybe Terrace Marshall is slightly less talented than, let's say, Darius Slayton. But like, I don't know that Darius Slayton is going to land in a place where he's actually starting. Because we see all the time that dudes like they go to another team and they just like disappear. Darius Slayton was like a fourth round, or he was like fourth or fifth on the depth chart on his own team before like week 7 of this year. So I'm like, if I can just hit singles at enough picks because it's fucking February, that actually gives my team a lot of upside in terms of advancing through the playoff weeks because I'm going to have more live bullets to fire than other teams. So it's like, do I want to play this like ultra conservatively and not go for guys with strong breakout profiles? Of course not. But like, there's like value. There's probably more value if you're ever going to hit on like this year's like Zay Jones, like whatever boring veteran guy. I guess Zay Jones would be more the Slayton in this case, but you get what I'm saying. Guy who's like maybe not that great, but like going to have a job. Hitting on them now is probably the most valuable because so many of your league mates are filling their lineups with dudes who like straight up aren't going to be playing this year. Like, you know, like Alexander Madison's getting drafted in like the 11th or 12th round. Does Alexander Madison have a job? He's a free agent. He's not like there's potentially he's a total zero and he's getting drafted with like a fairly high pick. So then there's lots and the list goes on and on and on of guys like that.
Gretsch, you're muted.
Yeah, I was sending an Omni note.
Guys, you guys are frothy. We're not doing one more draft tonight. I need to go feed my small human being that I have to take care of. But this was very fun, heated.
I just made this whole point. You guys just
Yeah, we were done.
You not agree.
We're done.
didn't-
I mean,
you lost me somewhere around Darius Slayton, but yeah, I think I'm in on the point that we got to go for the starting equity.
I wasn't even really paying attention, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm literally asking you guys a question and you just both zoned out.
What? Sorry, ask me the
Last
question.
an hour. It's February.
It's a draft philosophy question about drafting in February. Isn't it like I know we're all about like upside.
Yes,
But if you're filling your roster with guys who are going to be playing like literally almost a year from now, if you just have guys who are fucking playing in week 15, 16, and 17 and throughout your entire roster, that's upside.
Yeah.
So like if you're chasing individual upside of like this guy's more talented than Terrace Marshall, so I'm going to take him, or this guy, if everything breaks right for Alexander Madison, he's going to be a fucking smash. Like that outcome's probably lower than you think, and I'm going to take a guy like Khalil Herbert who has a job. Could Khalil Herbert get totally cucked by another running back? Yes. But he's going to have a role. He's going to be a nice little handcuff pick, probably in a similar range. So I'm just going to go ahead and take him as opposed to the guy I can dream on a little bit.
It's like everything though, Pat, right? It's a balance. Even at like on September 1st, if you drafted a team in Best Ball Mania full of rookies, you're not going to advance the team. But you know you're going to need a couple, or at least a couple of those guys to supercharge your team down the stretch. And so like if you're drafting all Trey Lance, Anthony Richardson, whatever, like, yeah, you're probably not going to advance. So like, I do think if you are balancing that, like if you were taking your big swing on Lance early and then offsetting that with safer guys later, then like you're probably doing it right.
I everything you're saying, Pat, about early offseason draft specifically, I completely agree with. I think it's all very sharp. I can't even argue it.
We'll start swinging bigger once we have more information is kind of what I'm thinking.
But my thing is like the safety you perceive in those guys like isn't actual real safety. I mean, there's injuries, there's training camp reshuffling, there's free agent signings.
For players like Herbert, he's saying, I think Khalil Herbert's a really good player. And basically, no matter what happens, he's going to be a used player. In like maybe he's the.
But who are we drafting for upside that we don't think is a really good player?
Alexander Madison, I guess. I mean, why is Alexander Madison going where it's going? Because it's like because Dalvin Cook might not be back, and I have no idea. Like I'm like, I guess that's just situational upside because we don't think he's very good.
Yeah. That's so not a pick to make. That's not.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
What's the play? The play is they don't sign Cook and they do re-sign Madison, and he's the guy. Like
what you're arguing is draft for talent. Like to some respect, but like draft for players that are good enough that no matter where they are on an NFL roster, they're going to probably be playing because they're good.
Or like an Antonio Gibson type jumps out to me as a guy who's like a pretty solid pick because they're not likely to draft a running back because they just drafted Brian Robinson. They seem to like him. So like he's probably locked into like a number 2 type of role. Like, we think he's talented. He's versatile. Kenny Gainwell, I like. There's maybe you could say that's drafting for upside because maybe he's the starter, but I don't think anyone really thinks that he will be. But Kenny Gainwell, like, is good. And I think if they bring in a 2-down guy ahead of him, we'll probably go around where he's going now. So I think you're getting a little bit of kind of like baked in upside with him. But again, it's just like
it's a little bit case by case. I think you've laid out good like parameters, but it's a little bit case by case. I agree with Pete too that like some of the upside stuff is just overlap to the point you're making as well. But this is a great example of why you won $2 million. You're constantly grinding at all times. Somebody said it in the chat. I want to go to sleep. It's February 22nd. I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, my bad.
We all we're just acting. We acted like we care about that Trey Lance debate. You think I give a fuck about Trey Lance right now?
I do. I actually do give a fuck.
Appreciate you guys. We do give a fuck about you. Thank you for hanging out in the chat. Sorry we can't feed you another draft, but trust me, guys. I mean, we're going to just be drafting nonstop. I did 2 drafts on Best Ball Breakfast on Monday. Probably do another 2 drafts on Monday on Splash Play. We're going to draft a team on Friday. Also, check out Splash Play earlier this week. Pat was on, and we talked about all the rookies. Pat and Spags are deep in the weeds on those guys. Had some good conversations. Check out Omni Fantasy. Guys, we have months and months and months to draft and draft and draft and draft. We just got to pace ourselves. Any final words from you guys?
Dalton Schultz is a good example of the guy I was talking about not to take. Oh, what if he goes to the Chargers?
My final words are if you're in the Omni Cup or the Ship Chasing Cup or anything, go check your draft tonight and freaking make your pick.
There you go. Make your
God, I just got subtweeted on my own show.
Exactly. And also if someone wants to, who's the tight end we drafted? Darnell Washington. Someone wants to make a Darnell Washington clip.
Oh,
seems
yeah,
like
we'll roll that.
That seems like a fun way to spend an evening making a Darnell Washington clip.
Just all hurdles. Just give us 20 hurdles.
All hurdles. I will exchange a piece of Ship Chasing merch for well-made clips. So if you make a nice clip, I will, if you want a hoodie, you want a hat, you want a tank, I will make those changes. But you must be receptive to feedback. Gretsch has even been subjected to this, giving him some notes on some of his clips he's edited. What was the clip
you was asked to be short?
You just edited it. You just cut it.
Oh, wow.
You just went straight.
Gretsch,
the people in the VIPs know about the Zack Snyder cut of the Romeo Dobbs clip. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Here's the thing. When we know these clips are going to be played 10s and 20s and 30s of times on this show, I got to make sure they're tight, man.
When you played it on this one, I was like, this edit wasn't that bad. I don't remember the first one anymore. I was like, this is pretty good.
All right, guys. We'll be back next Wednesday. Have a great week. Good luck in your big board drafts. We'll see you guys next time.